This is going to be one of the craziest XRP videos I've ever made because of what we're going to talk about, especially the BRICS and the big reset that's coming. With that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick, and if you're new, I hope you become a subscriber by the end of this video. Let's take a quick look at this. A Smoke Dog wrote a beautiful article about BRICS. We have BRICS Pay set to go live in 2025. That's where a lot of people are missing the point, since everyone is focused on what the BRICS are doing to paper currencies. The BRICS are no longer being watched to see what they do to support and push virtual currencies. And as an example, if we look at this paper that the Smoke Dog sent us as part of its BRICS chairmanship, Russia wants to make a place where people can settle their debts using virtual currencies. The BRICS bridge, there are already technological gateways in place for main banks to settle transactions in virtual currencies. As we look at this, it's clear that the goal is to not only set up separate payment lines, but also to make the financial system reset 2025 a great time to talk about digital currencies. The most significant changes to our economic structure since the 1944 Bretton Woods meeting. Yes, Bretton Woods 3.0 is now on our desk. On the same day that the BRICS countries start their new Forex, everything is lined up and sure. This is something I had been thinking a lot about, and I keep telling you guys, listen, if we look at what the BRICS are doing, what we are led to believe from mainstream media is that Russia is the bad guy. The United States is the coolest guy. This could possibly lead to a fight. An awful lot of fighting is going on, but what many people don't know is that every time there was a major war or disaster, the economy changed in a big way. For example, look at what's happening with the BRICS right now. BRICS are bringing in the digital age of finance at the same time that everyone is thinking about moves to get rid of the dollar and what will happen to it. The dollar is going virtual in the same way that almost all different kinds of events are going virtual. Of course, the best way to bring in the digital money machine is to bring down the anti-paper system. And there are some big changes coming to our banking system in the next 10 years from 2015 to 2025. The timing is always a little off for me, but I think this is the right time to talk about it. Because of the 1944 Bretton Woods meeting, and yes, we are beginning to see some of those big changes. A lot of major changes are happening with tokenization jobs. VCDSS, what the major banks are asking for, is speeding up big improvements to our global financial systems. The IMF, the World Bank, and other organizations are all working on this, but many people are too busy to notice that it's actually happening. In theory, all international debt would be forgiven on a Sunday afternoon, and we would have to start over with a new balance sheet the next morning. We have it written down that a new reset will really bring our financial structures to the next section, and everyone involved says they have a lot to lose if they wait too long to make the necessary changes. So this is the watch for Bretton Woods 3.0 after all. We're already in the process of this. And you know what I find really interesting about it? Everything is starting to come together for this. You could say that this is a conspiracy theory, but you know what I mean? There must be something else going on here. You may remember that I wrote about why many US banks may fail in May. Major banks are having trouble right now. Because 282 banks have been going through a double debt of commercial real estate loans and capacity losses due to better interest rates. This is all because of commercial real estate. It's not even close to the end for most of those banks. They're just confused. That could mean fewer bank failures, but that doesn't mean that groups and clients won't be hurt by the stress. And I really think that a lot more banks will fail. I know this says we might not, but I bet we saw another one on October 18th. People say that Oklahoma Bank failed because it told false and misleading bank facts. By the way, those banks have a chance. Over deposit to run this happen again in the summer. If we look at this right now, based on records from the first quarter of 2024, 94 out of 1,028 banks, you might say, well, rightly. This is the best 94 of more than 1,000 banks. It's still very big with more than $1 billion in deposits that aren't insured, which is at least 50% of all accounts. If we just look at this, we can see why Mellon, one of the biggest banks in the world, has 100% of its accounts that are not insured. Then came State Street Bank, 92.6%, Northern Trust, 73.9% Citi, and 72.5% HSBC Bank, 69.8% JP Morgan Chase, 51.7% JP Morgan people who work for JP Morgan Chase make 1.7%, and this bank makes 50.4%. If we look into what is going on with this at the moment, For reference, the most important bank failure we saw in 2024 was the Republic First Bank in Pennsylvania, become number 87 on the list from the previous quarter with a 51.5% ratio. That's just for reference. All of that is because of commercial real estate. And I also want you to understand that with bank mistakes, really, all it takes is one big one to make more than one happen. Actually, I said this because I wrote it down on October 18th at the same time that we saw it. In this case, the loss of the bank clearly meant earlier than this. Gold and silver were being bought and sold as if one of the worst economic crises in history were about to happen. When you look at the economic data that keeps coming out, it's like a sign. I really don't see how we can avoid a financial disaster in 2025 or 2026. Of course, I have to give a big shout out to Luke the Deep Diver here. We have exactly Bretton Woods 3 commodity based, and yes, that is exactly what is happening right now. We are looking at Bretton Woods 3 there at the restart. Anyone who looks at debt when they see what the US is doing, they think this economic coverage is just out of control. They wonder, do those people not know what they're doing? They know what they're doing. They have a plan in place, and they're making sure you know the rules right now. This is all set to fall apart in a big way, and in the long run, it will also wipe out all debt, such as what we see written here. Every person in the world was given, say, 1,000 brand new bank wars that all banks and groups would know about. We might want to start over right away. We might even want to cancel all debts and take back all the land, and we have a system that lets us pay more to the country. These kinds of things are hard to imagine, but they're possible.